Yogis. Welcome to our first Bheemashakti practice in my living room. So Bheemashakti, if you haven't done it before, one of the great things is it's really modifiable. So it's something that you can do whether you have a lot of experience with yoga or very little. And we're just going to start off. I'm going to talk us through it as we go. It's going to be what they'll call a sampler platter class, just kind of getting a feel for some of these movements and some of the breathing techniques we use. So first, just going to warm up the body, feet about hip width, a little wider, and just start to swing your arms right and left. In class here, we started calling this the swings, like from the fair. So try to keep your joints relaxed, so not straighten the legs and tightening up around the knees, letting everything be kind of soft and just letting your body twist. Your shoulders be relaxed. Generally speaking, in the Bheemashakti practice, we're not trying to kind of achieve depth by super muscling through things. It's more about using repetitive movements and using breath control and breath work to find added depth, to open up space in the body. All right, we'll end back at the center, and I'll just swing the arms front and back, and just alternate which arm is the top arm when you come forward. And then we'll hold here and just do one arm at a time. So I'm just going to roll my right arm back. If your torso is moving a whole lot, then you're trying to do it, without getting as much from your shoulder. So just notice that. Sometimes I'll put my hands on my ribs and kind of notice if my ribs are moving around a bunch. I'll let it be from the shoulder. The movement doesn't have to be big. It's just whatever your range of motion is today. If you hear little kind of clunky sounds, let's do one more back and then switch forward. That's fine as long as there's no pain. You can always make the movement a little smaller. I always have a lot of clicks in one of my shoulders. Just kind of paying attention, noticing if you need to adjust your movement slightly. Forward on the right arm, and then we'll switch to the left arm, send the left arm back. Okay, now notice my torso is not moving a bunch, so if you're kind of like doing a bunch of this, it's like keep yourself more still, just see what the range of motion is in your shoulder. One more going back, and then we'll switch and go forward. You can also kind of slow down when you get to the spot that's a little tricky. Just kind of feel it out. 2 more. And then we're going to move on to what we call easy back bends. So these are very different than our Bikram style back bends. Again, feet are hip width or a little wider. And bring your thumbs up along your back, on the sides of your spine. And bend your knees. Try to get into the habit of getting more comfortable with bending your knees. Lift your chest. So with this position, you're already going to be in a little bit of a back bend and a little bit of an arch. And then just lift your chest Shin can tuck, or you can let your head go back, whatever is more comfortable for you. And just allow the front of your body to lengthen a bit. 5 just normal breaths in this position, just getting comfortable. And then slowly come back up. And we'll do 2 more of these. So you can feel free to move your hands lower down, even like once you get comfortable, you can bring them all the way down towards the back of your legs. Just whatever works for you. You might stay pretty close up by the center of your back or a little bit lower. Just feel it out where you want to be. And just breathing normally, letting the knees bend, letting your belly stretch. And slowly come back up. 1 more. I'm going to try to go a little deeper, but take it where it makes sense for you. And then slowly come back up. And 1 more thing in our warm-up. Bhastrika, wide leg, forward fold. We're going to do this with chest expansion arms. I guess I'll do from the side. So legs go nice and wide. And place your fingers behind you. My natural one is I usually do my left thumb on top, so pay attention to where you naturally go. Which then thumb is on top. You can bend your arms quite a bit. And then let your shoulders roll back. And fold forward. And little bends right and left with your knees. These can be as small as you need them to be. And then just kind of naturally, as you get more comfortable, you can go a little deeper, bring your chest more forward, go lower, reach your arms back more. Knees track over your ankles. And then even find your center and come back up. Release your grip. Let your arms shake out a couple times. We'll do the same thing again with the opposite thumb on top. So for me, that's my right thumb on top. And bend your arms as much as you need so you can get out of the tension in the elbows and let the shoulders roll back. And then fold forward. You're already warmed up, ready to go deeper. You go deeper. You bring your legs wider. And then, again, find the center and slowly come back up. Okay, that's our warm-up. It's always the same. Next, we're going to do a breathing technique called Bhastrika. For Bhastrika, it's a 50% inhale and a 50% exhale. So, same power throughout most of class. We're going to breathe through the nose. So, it's going to be inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. And there's a kind of a funny movement. The feet about hip width are a little wider again. So we're going to warm up all of our joints and move with the breath. So when we exhale, knees bend, arms go forward. And when you inhale, the legs straighten, the arms pull in. You can have your elbows up high if you really want to tire out your shoulders, but I would recommend otherwise keeping your elbows lower than your shoulders. Some people like to go forward like this. Some people like to go more out like this. It's up to you. It's really just what's comfortable for you, and just kind of getting comfortable in the knees and the lower body, bending the knees. So I'm just going to start up. Again, the exhale is when you move forward. So we'll start with the exhale, and just in and out through the nose. Try to make it even. Inhale, exhale. Takes a little practice to get comfortable with these. We're going to do 100. And if you lose it, or you get really kind of stuck in the breathing pattern and you feel uncomfortable in your throat, take a break. Stop. Shouldn't be stressful. Come back when you're ready. You can also close your eyes for these if you're comfortable with that. And then just be still for a moment. You can feel how doing that breath work kind of gets things really excited in the body. You feel this kind of movement aside from just the movement you're creating with your arms and your legs. And you might also notice that you need a tissue. So that's why you have a box of tissues right here. When you're breathing in and out through the nose a lot, especially this time of year, the seasonal allergies, you might want tissues nearby. All right, so we're going to do one more set of 100. Same as before, starting with the exhale. And you should feel some activity in the belly. Throughout this, we're going to do some kapalabhati breathing. It's not as intense as that, but you should feel some activity in the belly when you pull in. Okay, let's try it again. And then just slowly come to a seat and keep your eyes closed if you're comfortable with your lowering yourself down that way. Whatever's a comfortable seat for you, just take a moment here to let the energy settle from the breath. Bring your left hand into your lap. Your right palm goes on top of your left palm, just enough that you can completely relax down through your shoulders. And try to let the joints relax around the knees and the ankles and the hips. Still relatively straight through your spine. So lengthen the back of your neck, but not tucking your chin into your chest. Pull wide to the back of your rib cage. Don't spend a lot of time here today. And especially as you do more of that Bhastrika breathing, longer sets, it's very powerful to then go to stillness and kind of feel everything settling down, feel everything moving around in your body. And if you have a hard time being still, a great way to settle yourself here is to just count your inhales and count your exhales. And it's a great way to also just pay attention to how long you can keep that one thread going. You know, if you can count up to 10 inhales, 10 exhales, or if you always lose it at like 6. And if your mind tends to wander, if you can stay focused on that one task. And we'll take the palms and start to rub them together, creating a little heat in between your hands. And traditionally, we'd bring the hands right up on top of the eyes to closed eyelids and settle that heat there. If you don't want to touch your face these days, you can just hover in front. And then slowly start to open your eyes and start to bring your fingers down so you're letting the light in through your fingers. And we'll start today with the 3 amigos. So if you don't already have blocks, I'm not going to use them for 3 amigos, maybe we will, but 2 blocks. If you can't bring your hands fully to the floor, flat palms to the floor with a forward fold, you definitely need blocks. Blocks or blankets, if you have tight hips, are also going to be helpful for the 3 amigos. So we're going to start with the right leg out long, left leg in with the sole of your foot inside of your right thigh. So if you are in this position and you have to rock back, you can't sit up tall on your sit bones, the hips are tight, you have to rock back, that's when you know you need a blanket. A block is kind of tipsy-turvy in these, so it's not ideal, but a blanket, rolled up blanket or another rolled up mat or something is usually just the ticket. So don't be shy. If you feel like you're rolling back in these, definitely give yourself that opportunity to prop yourself up a little bit. All right, so for 3 amigos, you can start either holding on to your elbows, or if this is too much for your shoulders, you can interlace your hands, hold on behind your back, or behind your head, I should say. And we're going to move lengthening out towards the extended leg. So it's not an oblique crunch, you're curling in on yourself, it's lengthening out. You want the body to get as long and straight as you can out towards your right foot. So this is going to be actually working your left hip. So grabbing your elbows, or maybe interlacing your fingers behind your head. I like this one because I tend to round my upper back, so this way I can kind of press the top of my head just gently into my forearms. As a reminder to not do that. And then as we do these, they're a repetitive movement, a kriya, cleansing exercise, with little exhales out the nose. So similar to the Bhastrika, just a little exhale out the nose, a little bit of abdominal engagement, but not the full engagement of a kapalabhati breath. All right, so we'll take about 25 over towards the right. Okay, now we're going to go into our kapalabhati, our hold. So for the hold, you want to be relatively comfortable, not straining. My right hand arm comes forward and inside, left arm up and over towards the right foot. If you can hold your foot, by all means do so, but if you have to be kind of curled in on yourself, then not quite yet. So find a place where you can stay really lengthening through both sides of your body. looking forward, chest forward, and we'll do 10 kapalabhati breaths here. That's that full pulling in through your belly, strong pulling through the belly, exhale through the nose. And then come back up. We'll switch out to the other side. If you can switch with no hands, try to do that. If you need the hands, use them. And keep that long leg very active, foot very flexed. And find your arm position. If you're holding your elbows, notice and switch the opposite forearm on top or forward. And let's try this side. Last one. Again, left arm comes forward inside, right arm over towards your left foot. Keep your chest lifted, trying to stack the shoulders over each other. 10 kapalabhati. And come back up. Switch. We're going to do 2 to 3 rounds of everything. So the third round, you'll definitely notice progression as you go. So let's do this side again. Find that place where you can lift up tall, lengthen your body over to the right with the exhale. Last 5. And then this time we'll do something a little different. Instead of the kapalabhati, I take my hands over to my right foot. If your foot is not the place that makes sense for you to hold, you can hold higher up on your thigh. I'm just going to demo it higher up so you can see what it looks like. I'm just rolling forward. I'm just going to roll this whole thigh forwards. My toes tip towards the floor. My right butt comes up off the floor. So find where you want to be. Pinky toe side of your foot or higher up on your leg. And 15 little rolls in. And we'll switch to the left side. Already I'm feeling it. Okay, lift up tall, find your arm position, chin stays up. Exhale as you move to the left. then find the place that makes sense, heart on your leg or towards your baby toe side, and roll in 15 times to the exhale. Back up. One more set. Right leg out, left leg in. Sit up tall. This time, if you'd like to go faster, I mean, you can always go at your own pace. So find where it makes sense for you. Lift up out of your waist. Pulse into the right. Last one. And then we'll go back to that kapalabhati. So right arm goes inside, left arm goes over. Maybe you can hold the foot. I'm kind of close, but I don't think I'm right there yet. So I'm going to just bring the arm a little bit above. 10 kapalabhati. And then come back up. We'll do the other side. Last one for the left. Lift up tall, chest up, and bring your butt to the left. And then 10 more kapalabhati. Left arm goes inside, right arm goes over. So try to bring your side body again over leg. Lift your chest, look forward. 10 kapalabhati. Come back up. Alright, that's the first amigo. Second amigo, we're going to bring the legs out wide. And you can even, see how wide you can get and then shimmy yourself a little bit so you really feel it already in your inner thighs. And I've done this in the past where I've let myself kind of twist a lot, where I've felt like one butt coming up off the floor as I twist. And now I'm trying to be more mindful and keep those muscles activated on your sit bones. So if you can feel that once you get set up nice and wide, you feel the stretch in your inner thighs. Also feel like that kind of like squeeze around the muscle right where your butt attaches to the back of your leg. Kind of squeeze that and keep that activated. So what we do is you twist right and left, and you can twist and kind of just gently touch your legs, bring your torso over that leg, over that leg, over that leg. If these are easy, you can also reach out to your toes. So this is what I used to do a lot, and then I'd let my butt come up off the floor. So now I'm just going to keep it smaller and try to be more mindful of that. Your choice. 30 little pulses total right and left with a little exhale. And then come back to center. Both hands come forward to the center view. Still, you might be propped up on something. That's just fine. And so this can be very small, hands in the center, and you're just pulsing forward. If you're propped up and you have to be propped up, you can't go too much further forward. As you have more flexibility to fold forward with the flat back, you can bring your body lower. Just keep that long spine. So I'm kind of leaning forward with my bottom of my rib cage with my chin, not rounding and pulling away from the floor. And we'll do 25 pulses here too. So find where's the perfect spot for you. You can always adjust in the movement. And then hold wherever that deepest spot is where you're still comfortable, you're not straining. We'll do 10 kapalabhati here. And come back up. You can bend the knees in, take a moment, shake them out a little bit. But we're going to move through the 3 amigos pretty quickly because they can take quite a bit of time. So, and standing up, maybe kind of widening and pushing yourself forward until you feel like you're in a place where you're somewhat challenged. And we'll repeat that same movement again. If you are reaching out to the side, you can reach out to the side, or you can also add one arm reaching behind you as you go. So let's try it. Time and keep the feet active, flex the whole time, then pulsing forward. Hold, 10 kapalabhati. Into our third set. I'm going to loosen myself up a little bit, go a little wider, but up to you where you want to go. And challenging yourself to still stay nice and wide with your legs. And then come forward. If you want to test your strength, you can pulse forward without your hands on the floor. So it's just going to show that you can do that movement. You've got the strength to support your torso and yourself without your hands on the floor. So you can do that either with your hands on your thighs moving forward, pulsing forward, or you can also do it with chest expansion arms. So choose where you want to be, keep the feet active, pulsing forward. And hold for 10 kapalabhati. And slowly come back up. onto our third amigo. So shake out your legs if you need to for the third amigo. We're going to do this Jonathan style. So bring the soles of your feet together, Baddha butterfly style. And first just kind of butterfly your legs a little bit. And then we're going to bring the hands behind, so you're going to have some body weight in your hands, fingertips facing forward towards your feet. You're going to hover your butt up off the floor, and as you bring the feet to touch, your heels touching, your kind of toes are pulling away from each other, and just pulse your hips towards your heels, little exhales. Last one. And then keep that position with your butt closer, your sit bones closer towards your heels. Come up. And you can go elbows forward of your shins. You can go elbows inside, kind of along your ribs, your choice. We're going to pulse forward here. Again, trying to keep a relatively lengthy spine. And then we'll hold and do 10 kapalabhati, shoulders pull down, knees release down. And release it, butterfly your legs a few times. And just one more round of these, bring your hands back behind you. Hover your hips up, press forward. Last one. Try to keep your hips closer towards your heels. Up, sit up tall, and you can still use a blanket underneath you as needed. Find that place where you can feel like you're holding on around your baby toes and your rest of your toes almost like wrapping around your arms, and then pulsing forward with the exhale. And hold 10 kapalabhati. And you're going to butterfly the feet a little bit more. And then we'll stay seated just a little longer and go into a spine twist. So left knee in front, right leg stacked over left. You can keep your bottom leg long if you'd like. Right arm behind you, left arm up, whatever arm variation you like. You can wrap around the upper arm. You can palm your knee, wherever you're feeling ready right now. Lift up tall, look over your right shoulder, and we're just going into the kapalabhati. So 20 kapalabhati breaths, looking over your right shoulder. Forward, and we'll switch sides. This direction, right leg's in front. Good, leg can stay long, that's perfectly fine. Left leg forward, left arm behind or wrapped around you, right arm up or palm of the knee. Lift up tall, look over your left shoulder. 20 kapalabhati breaths. And then back to center. One more round of these each side. So left leg forward, right leg in front. If you're feeling ready to go deeper with your arms, you can. You can do the bind if you'd like. Just find a place where you're not straining, where you feel like you can let the breath really be powerful. Center, switching sides again. You don't need to use your hands, bad habit of mine. Try to do your setup without using your hands. You can find where you're comfortable, where you can really focus on that strong, powerful exhale, that pulling in through your abdomen. Lift up tall. And then come back forward. Cross your legs at the ankles. And bring your hands forward in front of you. Come onto your knees. Tuck your toes. Walk your hands back. Bend your legs, or straighten your legs, I should say. You can keep a little bend. And then inhale, arms up. Bring your arms down by your side. We are going to go into a salutation next. This is a very long, complicated salutation. So before we even start, I'm going to show you some of the repetitive movements that we do, so you can be in it while you're doing it, not looking around. You'll know what I'm referring to. So there's basically 4. The first one is just a chest to the legs. It's just a repetitive movement in your forward fold. So when you first forward fold, you can have your hands on blocks. You can be tense on your fingers or flat palms, but we're just going to press our chest towards our legs. Exhaling, chest towards legs. So as I do that, my head would ideally go towards the floor, and I'm lengthening my spine as I do it. The second movement is you're rocking up onto the toes and back onto the heels. So this one, rocking up onto toes, back into the heels, like if you're preparing for a press handstand. You're going to keep drawing in through your ankles so you're not rolling out towards the baby toe sides of your feet as you do it. Third one is a press in down dog, a wide leg down dog. So we'll go back into a down dog and then press back like this. So you're repeatedly pressing back with the exhale, so this is going to be more of a shoulder opener. The fourth one is where I'm going to use the blocks. So I've done this before as just a bending and a straightening of the legs. So just at the top of your mat, kind of bending, straightening. And you can keep it small, bending, straightening, or you can make it bigger and really try to go into like almost a full squat and lifting up and then folding it all the way. So that's where I'm going to use the blocks to help me get deeper into my squat. Anyone who cannot bring their flat palms to the floor will need the squat for this next move. The next move is a transition. So when we go up and down the mat, we do what we call an elephant walk. The elephant walk is basically just lifting up from your hip. So just like this, just lifting up from your hip. This is how you move your legs. Legs stay straight. So all the actions in here. So what that looks like in a downward facing dog, or from a forward fold into a downward facing dog, is I'm forward folding and then I'm lifting my hip. Some people's legs go more out as they lift up. So straight up or a little out. But that's how you move to the back of the mat. And so if you can't have your flat palms to the floor, very hard to support your weight for those, that's why you would definitely need the blocks. So you can use the blocks for any of those repetitive movements where you want more support down to the floor, you want
to be closer to the floor, but definitely warrior walk, use the blocks if you can't have flat palms to the floor in your forward fold, so you can get started with those. Okay, so I'll start with blocks at the top of the mat, even if we don't want them or we don't know. We'll give ourselves that opportunity to have it. All right, so inhale, arms up over your head. Exhale, take your forward fold. Look forward and lengthen, halfway lift. And then we'll do those pulses in 25 times. You can use blocks or not. You can be in your flat palms or not. Head towards the floor. Pulse your chest towards your legs. And then we'll do the rocking forward and back, up onto our toes and back down to our heels. So coming up onto your toes, back towards your heels. And you can play with inhales and exhales. So you can either inhale back, this would be the custom, so you can exhale to help you lift up higher, get that power, that abdominal contraction as you want to come up onto your toes, but you can play with it. I've already lost track, so let's just say 5 more. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then hands on the blocks if you need it for the elephant walk. I'm going to bring my hands down for these. Elephant walk towards the back of your mat. Hands are shoulder width apart, whether they're on the blocks or not. And you get your feet back to a down dog position. Bring them wide, all the way out to the edges of your mat. And we'll do those shoulder presses 25 times. And then look forward. Elephant walk your feet up and down just a couple of times. Sometimes we do a lot of these. And we'll just do a couple today. Getting a feel for it. You also feel a big engagement lifting in your low belly to help make this possible. And then the next time we're up at the top, we'll stay up at the top. This is where I'm going to definitely use the blocks. So this is the either bending and straightening the legs 10 times or full squat to straightening the legs 10 times. So if you're doing the squat like me, you're going to squat all the way, try to bring your butt as close as you can to your heels and try to lift your chest and stretch your throat. And then exhale, fold into your legs. And at your own pace. And you bring your chin forward, your collarbones go wide, shoulders go down. You're doing the squat. This is great prep for the one we do in the advanced Bikram series, which is why I'm doing it this way. I'm better at that squat too. Down lower. Let's say 2 more. Last one. And then if you need the hands in the box, keep them there to elephant walk to the back of your mat. Otherwise, hands to the floor, shoulder width apart. Elephant walk your legs to the back of your mat. Down dog position. Then bring your right leg forward for a warrior one position. So roll into the edge of your left foot. Your legs are in these nice parallel lines, left hips coming forward. Get up nice and tall, right thigh close to parallel to the floor. You can keep your palms separate or bring them together. Lift your chest. Look up towards your hands. 10 kapalabhatis. And then bring your hands to frame your right foot. And onto the toes of your left foot. Right leg goes back, so you're going to plank. You're going to lower down. You're going to bring your knees to the floor, otherwise one chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. 10 kapalabhati breaths here. Back to downward facing dog. We'll take the legs out wide again. We'll do 25 more of those wide leg presses. And look forward, elephant walk, back up and down. Again, last time I think we did 2.5 times, or at least I did 2.5, so we'll try for the same. Everyone's timing can be a little different for these. Next time I'm up, I'm going to stay up. Then we'll go back to our squats and forward folds, or bending knees and straightening knees. So I'm positioning the blocks again. So we kind of go in and out the same, repeating our movements again. So squat, butt towards heels, chest up, look up, try to keep the palms down, and fold forward. 2, 3, you're going to try to keep your chest with your upper thighs if you really want to challenge yourself. Ankles still drawing in. Shoulders pull down every time you squat. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale to fold in on yourself. Last one. Alright, those are worth the price of admission for me. Hands down or on your blocks, elephant walk back to a down dog position. Keep that lift in the low belly, that's what makes the legs lighter. And then we're gonna look forward, bring your left foot in between your hands, setting up for the warrior one on this side. Come on up, pull that right hip forward, square your hips, keep your left thigh working towards parallel, lift up out of your waist. Again, arms can be separate, you can bring your palms to your palms. Look up, 10 kapalabhati. Your hands to frame your front foot and onto the ball mound of your right foot. Send your left leg back so you're in a plank. Chest forward, lower down one chaturanga, arms 90-degree angle. Come on up to an upward facing dog or a cobra. Lift your chest, 10 kapalabhatis. And then back up into your downward facing dog. Go wide again with your legs. We got one more set of the wide leg presses. So press yourself back with the exhale. And look forward. And elephant walk your way back up. Last time the elephant walk. At the top of your mat, you're just going to do our first two again. So coming up toes and heels. So you can have your hands flat. You can go up onto your tented fingers. Rock up onto your toes. Back into your heels. And zipping up through the legs. Last two. Last one. And then 25 more pulses forward. Let your head hang down towards the floor. Lead longer forward through the bottom ribs. Then halfway lift, look forward, lengthen your spine. One more time, fold in. Bend your knees as much as you need. Lift up, arms up, look up. And bring your arms down by your side. All right. Moving on, we're going to go into some standing back bends. So for these, again, bend the knees as much as you want. And legs are going to be hip width or wider. So first, just doing a couple like we did right at the beginning in the warm-up. Bring your thumbs in along the edges of your spine, and you don't have to go high or low. You can find where you intuitively want to go. And just getting comfortable, kind of lifting and stretching the front of the body, the front of the hips, maybe after what we just did. Again, head can go back, or you can tuck your chin if you don't want that stretch in your neck today. Do this about 2 times, just getting used to going back and breathing. Maybe bending your knees. And then we're going to add a little movement. So I would just encourage you, since I can't see you at home, that when you do these movements, be safe, be careful. So if you do not feel comfortable doing these movements, you're just going to pulse back, little exhales, pulsing back. Keep your hands where you want the support. If you're used to doing all these back bends, you feel pretty comfortable, then you can raise the arms up. So this first one, it's going to be right and left. We're going to pulse as we back bend, the arm comes up. So if you don't need the support, you can just keep the arms out. If you need the support, keep your both hands back or use one hand, support, and then let the other arm go up. So you always have the support there. So those little exhales like we've been doing, if you can go wide, knees can bend a little bit or a lot. So find where you want some support. Lift your chest, bring yourself back. Doesn't have to be a huge back bend. You'll find yourself naturally going deeper as you get more comfortable with these. And then come back up, take a moment. If you need longer, if you feel dizzy or overwhelmed, take longer. Otherwise, we're going to do that again one more time, slightly longer set. Again, lift up, find support where you want it, let yourself go back. And one arm at a time comes up with the exhale. Carefully help yourself back up.
Okay, so that's our single arm back bending standing kriya. And keep going with that for a third set, or you can try a double arm. So if you were doing one arm, you didn't feel like you really needed the support of your other arm, that's when the double arm will make sense. So it's exactly what it sounds like. Both arms spiral up and down. As your arms spiral up, you pulse your hips forward. So that's the movement, but you're already starting from a bit of a back bend. It can be really tiny, right? These can be like just very small, very small. Find where you want to go. If you feel pinching kind of sensations, you're not doing it the way it should be done. So it's always gonna, this should feel invigorating. It should feel like you're creating expansion in the front of your body. You shouldn't feel like you're just pinching into your back. All right, let's try it. Either single arms or moving into the double arms. And carefully peel yourself back up. And do one more set, either single arms or another set, the double arms. And set yourself up wherever you want to be to begin with. And let's try. And slowly work yourself back up. I love those. So we have one more option for standing back bending or wheel back bending. So I haven't quite figured out, I don't have a lot of wall space in my home. I'm trying to figure out where I can do some of the stuff we can do against a wall. If you have a very convenient wall for you, you can basically do a similar thing as what you were just doing, but instead of like spiraling the arms up, you would start with your hands in prayer, go back, tap the wall, come up, tap the wall, come up. Or go back, hands to the wall, clap, hands to the wall, clap, basically doing a little push-up as you go back. For those of us who don't have a wall or don't want to use a wall, we've done some good hip opening, we've done some good shoulder opening, so wheel should be pretty available. So option to go down and do wheel push-ups. So if that doesn't make sense, keep it with the standing. Otherwise, lowering down into your back. Hands come up along the ears, their fingertips facing back so the inside of your wrists are towards your heels. Make sure your hair's out of the way. Feet about hip width. And then start to bring your tail up towards your knees. You can take a moment with the top of your head to the floor. If the arms don't go very straight in these, then push-ups don't make a lot of sense because we need to build a bend and straighten. If they don't go all the way straight, but you're definitely getting some movement, it's a good start. And last one, hold. And lower. You can do one more round of that. Again, you could be playing against the wall, doing some push-ups, doing some little tap backs. Or one more set, push-ups in your wheel. Or just holding a wheel. We're going to try at the end of this one to hold and do kapalabhati in the wheel. If you don't have a comfortable wheel yet, no kapalabhati. Kapalabhati we only add when we're feeling in a comfortable place in the pose. So, not in a place where we're still very delicate and not quite there yet. So find your position. If you're lifting off into your wheel, you can stop at your head and then go up. Play with your position if you need to. And do some more push-ups.
Let's try to get the arms straight. The temptation here is to kind of do these little mini ones and not really go straight. And then we're going to hold up to 30, as many kapalabhati as you can do. Careful lowering yourself down. Oh, if you need a little right and left of the knees, that can feel nice. And then extend your legs forward. Do one Bikram style sit up, so scoop your belly, engage through the back of the legs, slight tuck of the chin, curl up. And we're going to come to standing. Usually after we do back bending with these repetitive movements, it can be pretty intense in this class. So balancing it out by doing a few more of those repetitive movements forward. So we call this the forward fold routine, pretty simple. We're going to fold in half. One hand crossed over the other, so one palm, thumb is crossed over the other, and just little pulses down. Let these be soft. You'll find your low back kind of naturally releasing. So we're going to pulse forward, to the right, to the left, and back forward again. Bend your knees as much as you need. And to the right. Lift and lower to the left. Lift, come back forward, just a couple more. And then slowly bend your knees as much as you need to and come back up. All right, we're going to do just a few more things to work upper body. So in this style of yoga, there's 7 sacred postures, 7 kind of openings of the body. So spend a lot of time on the legs today, some time back bending. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on the upper body. So we're not going to do any real arm balances and versions, but we are going to go into dolphin presses. So it's a nice shoulder opener. So coming into our dolphin position with the forearms parallel to each other, you can do your little measurement to keep the elbows starting underneath your shoulders, make sure they stay there. And then from this position, tuck your toes, coming up, lifting the legs up. You can walk them closer as is available. And then we're just going to pulse back, just like we've been doing, pulsing back. So you're going to feel that movement in your shoulder with a little exhale. take a break. We're gonna do 2 more sets, and if you like, optional, you can lift one leg. So second set will lift the right leg, and then the next set, last set, will lift the left leg. And it's gonna be the same thing, pulsing with one leg in the air. If that's too intense, just come right back down and go back to the regular pulses. So finding your setup again, make sure your elbows haven't started to slide out wider. They're still underneath your shoulders. Optional lift with the right leg, pulses. And slowly, carefully come back down and lift up and take a break if you need. Those are pretty intense. I'm really feeling it across the chest. Haven't done these in a while. And then we'll try one more set. Okay, make sure elbows haven't tried to sneak out wider. These are great strengtheners also for the upper arms and the chest. And lift yourself up. If you're doing the leg extension, left leg this time, doesn't have to be that high, but lower might be harder actually. And then lower down. Sometimes we'll stay and do kapalabhati in those, but today instead we're going to do one set kapalabhati each side plank instead. So for these side plank, if your arms are tired, by all means, since you want to be relatively comfortable in the place where we're doing kapalabhati, your side plank just isn't something you feel super comfortable in, modify and keep the left knee down. And then just stack your arms and do kapalabhati just like this. You can also come down to your forearm, although I think that's oftentimes going to be more shoulder stabilization, so harder. So pick where you want to be. You can also stagger the legs so that one leg is in front of the other, so that'll make the balance aspect of it a little bit less challenging. And 10 kapalabhati. And then if you're comfortable, you can just roll over and switch sides. I want to be facing, so I'm going to have to do this, but you can just switch sides from where you're at. You don't need to see your screen, I suppose. I'll switch to the other side, wherever you are comfortable, 10 kapalabhati. Switch back because I lied. We're going to do a second set. Second set could be exactly the same. If you wanted to play with going a little deeper, you're like, those were not so bad after all. I think I can maybe play with stacking up my feet or something. You can do that. I'm going to do leg extension with the top leg, so you choose 10 kapalabhati. Switch sides. Maybe just rolling over. There you did. Even it out on this side. 10 kapalabhati. And then come back down. And we traditionally end this class with we call shoulder stand routine. So I think we're gonna do a brief shoulder stand routine today. So kind of just not as long as I might sometimes do it. And so there's a couple different moving parts here. So if you're not comfortable with shoulder stand, you can stay in the first part and do these rolls. If you are comfortable with shoulder stand, then you can obviously add on some of the other bits. But since you can't look around and see what's going on when you're in a shoulder stand, I'll demo a couple of these first. The first part is the rolls. So the rolls, we're bringing our feet like Baddha Konasana and holding on at the inside of your heel.
from the inside around your heels. I'm cupping my heels, and then I'm going to roll back, extend the legs out, and roll up and round forward towards my feet. I was doing these the other day, and I'm getting to those look like fun. So they're fun. They don't just look fun, they are fun. So you roll back, not sending your head down, just sending the legs up. They may or may not touch the floor. Roll forward. You can roll into your legs. So you can do that as like a spine balancing exercise. You could do as many of those as you like. Otherwise, we'll just do a few, and then we'll go into the routine. The routine will be landing with the legs wide like we did before. Arms come down to the floor. Your toes are tucked, so you can push back through your feet. So we'll do a little mini pushing back through the feet. And then we'll come up into shoulder stand. From shoulder stand, we'll do some kapalabhati. We'll do some leg lowers in our shoulder stand. Leg lower might be just like 2 inches, 3 inches. It doesn't have to be low. And then from there, we'll go back, do a couple more kapalabhati. Now with the toenails to the floor, you can come into ear pinning with your knees around your ears or with your knees to your forehead. Do some more kapalabhati, and then we'll roll back up into our fish, either head on the floor or lifted, lengthening the legs, arching the back kapalabhati, or even the flying fish legs up kapalabhati. All right, so let's give it a try. Come to the top of your mat, safe space. Cup your heels from the inside. Roll back. Extend your legs out. Roll up. Tuck in. Get closer. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get up to 15 of these, but today we'll just keep it at that. And we'll roll back. The legs go into that V-shaped position with the toes tucked, arms along the floor, so you can use that to press. Little exhales, press your hips up and back. And then hands come to your back. You can lift your legs up, coming into a shoulder stand. Maybe rolling the shoulders a little bit more underneath you. Lift up tall, 10 kapalabhati. Leg lowers, again, it could be an inch or 2. You could be doing this as legs up a wall with or without an actual wall. If you're doing the leg lowers, only one leg moves at a time, so make sure the legs are kind of swimming. One leg is fully up before the other leg can go. And if you're feeling this in the back of your legs and your hamstrings, good for you. That's exactly what you should be feeling. Those hamstrings having to work. Pull your leg back up. One more each, right and left. Sometimes we do more extended versions of these with both legs, with the legs out wide, but we'll keep it at that today. Bring the tops of the toenails towards the floor. They don't have to touch. 10 kapalabhati. And then knees can come to the forehead or ear pinning. 10 more. Back up to the forehead. Back out long. Slowly control your lower down. Try to keep your upper back to the floor. Pressing into your forearms. And then once your legs are down, you can roll up with the upper back. You're keeping the head to the floor, but with basically no weight on the head, or letting your head lift up off the floor, or doing the flying version with the legs up in the air. 10 kapalabhati. And slowly lower the back of your head down towards the floor. You can let your arms go out, let your legs go out. Take a moment, take a breath here. You can either end by lying here, taking some time in stillness for a savasana, or you can also come up and do a seated version like we did at the beginning of class after the Bhastrika. There's a comfortable seat with your right palm on top of the left palm, letting your shoulders relax, letting your limbs be soft. And just counting your inhales, counting your exhales, and letting your body relax after the hopefully rewarding practice. Thank you guys, maybe for trying something new or for doing Bheemashakti after having some break from the studio. Namaste.